and made lots of sacrifices for the gospel of Jesus Christ.
Many of us invested in the school, college, university ministry.
But these are not only mantles, but spiritual authorities.
One of the things that bring revival in this country is the power of the Holy Spirit, the presence of the Holy Spirit.
Catch Tracing the Mantles every Sunday from 8:30, hosted by Pastor Sunda Juma, only on Elevate TV.
Elevate TV, advancing kingdom lifestyle.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, viewers. Welcome to the Monday Morning Digest. I'm your host, Godfrey, Gichuki, and this is another amazing Monday morning. I think we are rolling the year very, very, very fast indeed. Today is the 8th of July, 2024. We're in the second part of the new year, of the year. This year is rolling very, very fast. Well, Monday morning, it's time for reflection, time for discussion, time to look at what has happened over the week. I hope you had a nice weekend. I hope you enjoyed, the break. And as you know very well, in the last 1 month or so, 4 weeks or thereabout, we've had real drama in this nation. And today we want to revisit this same subject of the protest, but we want to look at healing the post-protest psychological trauma. And I have with me on the set here a guest, my friend, please welcome to the show, Madam Jane Gitau. Look at this camera and welcome our viewers this morning.
Yeah, so good morning, our viewers. We are grateful to have you this morning. We are happy to be here, even to be discussing such serious issues that are going to help us as individuals and even as a nation. Thank you. My name is Jane Gitau.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay, very good indeed. Very good indeed. I want to remind you to share the links. Please share the links. We are live on Elevate TV, Kenya Facebook and YouTube channel. And call in your friends, let them tune in, and get the teenagers, the young guys also engaging, get everyone linked up. Let's talk about how to find healing. As you very well know, we've had such a dramatic scenarios in this country. Unfortunately, lives have been lost, and we also want to take this opportunity to offer our condolences to the families and those who have lost their loved ones in the protest, in the milieu, in the confusion. It is a very, very unfortunate event that we've lost young people, and this is really not, it's not what was wished for, both on the part of the protesters and those who are pushing the agenda for change. So it's unfortunate that it has had to cost lives, and to make the voice of the Gen Z heard on the streets of the city. Be that as it may, we are here on this other side. We hope that there is some level of sobriety in how the events and the protests and the pushbacks are going. And we do hope that the change we're going to see in this country is going to be a positive change. It's going to make our nation better. We can wish for an utopia. I'm not too sure, how much better it can get. I will leave that to those who are in the center of the arguments. But today, we want to look at if some of us have been affected by the protest and witnessed traumatic events. Perhaps, how do you find healing? That's the question we want to deal with. And so, Jane, let's dive into this conversation. Let's talk about finding healing, and I want us to start maybe first of all by giving a quick overview, and just let's talk about the whole idea of trauma. There are people perhaps who are watching this program for the first time. So when we talk about trauma, it's not something that everyone fully appreciates. I think it's good to lay out the ground clearly, and then we begin to address the events of the last 3 or 4 weeks. So yes.
Yeah, so it is very, very important for us to put this thing in a layman language so that we can all get it, because we've been affected from the highs to the low. And so when you talk about trauma, we are basically talking about these very scaring events, things that register in our mind more so negatively than positively, you see? Like now when we witnessed coffins on the streets, I don't know how some of us interpreted this. I'm sure some of us maybe said, oh, these guys are ready to die, and so they're already carrying their own coffins with them, or or probably they are telling those other guys, we are going to kill you and put you in this coffin, because it depends on how you interpret the whole thing.
Okay.
And of course now we also see our children who probably have never even seen a dead body, and they had to see all these things on the street. In fact, I happen to be a mother of Gen Zs, and my own actually told me that there were brains on the streets, and I was like, oh my God, Personally, as at my age, I have not seen that. But now here was my own child telling me what they saw.
Right.
And even if they didn't really see it, they are all over the media. So those are the kind of things we are talking about. It is traumatic. It is not believable. I mean, these are things that scares you in the night, that you can't sleep comfortably. That when you sleep, you kind of like scared and you keep on turning and you're like, what? And even the gunshot. Some of these kids have never had this, They went to primary school, boarding, high school, and right now, majority of them are actually in campus level, or probably they just cleared. So they have not had this kind of a thing, a lot of gunshot, and tear gas and all those kind of things. They have not had, because the kind of protests we've had before, they were more of political than this one,
Yes.
So they have kind of never been involved. So this was a whole new scenario for them. And of course, it really did impact them. So traumatic or psychological trauma is basically things that impact you, in a very serious way, and more so negatively.
Yeah, and indeed, I think we all witnessed scenes on our television screens
Yeah.
that can rattle, anyone actually, because we're not used to this level of, gross engagement, especially with matters as sacred as life, the sanctity of life, the sanctity of people's lives. I mean, when images are broadcast, in fact, my worry or my concern, I don't know how much, social media is basically unpoliced. And because everyone really with a simple mobile phone with a camera can actually broadcast, it's really like Wild West out there. Things that mainstream media or regulated media cannot broadcast now has to be broadcast through the social media, people's devices. So that actually creates a complete different environment. Even war pictures are hardly meant to be broadcast. I mean, in normal civil war, well, there's no war which is civil, but in say proper military engagement and former wars, there are things obviously that are never broadcast. So maybe the question is, do you think that even the nation, the psychology of the nation as a whole, has shifted somewhat, and are we becoming more gross and maybe less respectful of the sacredness of life, and the very very idea of living life? What do you think?
Well, maybe yes, maybe not. Because, for example, now if we talk about Gen Zs who actually triggered this,
Yes.
You see one thing about this generation, which is really good, but anything good has its own negative side, or
Okay.
anything. There are always two sides of a coin for anything.
Yes.
As some of them did claim, it's that we have been colonized. It is true to some extent. Some of us have a bit of fear.
Right.
Because there are some things that you did so that you don't lose your job, or so that you can get a job, which Gen Zs will not do. These people, what I like about them is that they are quite expressive. They are very, very expressive. And somebody who is expressive, if you are careful to learn them, it's all about picking their expressions and trying to deal with them.
Yes.
You see? Like we've been saying, they're not patient. They love microwave, they are microwave children and all that. And the parents of Gen Zs, some of them are really suffering, but some of them are also very happy, because what is so good about these kids or these Gen Zs is that they are very sincere people. Never mind that they are telling you some crazy things, but that is them, and so they spill the beans. It is up to you to sort.
Okay.
And some of these, I think it is very, very good, because unlike some people, like us people, or maybe older generation, who took off in the night, and they came back just before morning. So the parents thought the people slept in the house, and in actual sense, they never slept in the house. These kids, they'll just tell you, Mom, I'm going out, and they'll just go. So you have a chance at least to cancel. But this person who disappeared in the night, you don't have a chance to cancel, and they can even be killed out there. So these people, they are very, very expressive. So there is that psychological impact, because what happened was quite unexpected.
Right.
Like, I think this was, some days prior, I remember Jeff Koinange hosted this Gen Zs. And there's this girl on, basically the whole team, they were talking about this thing being organic. It is headdress. There is no head to chop. And when I heard that, I was like, it's organic. When you think about, in my generation, when you think about organic, you're thinking about food of a way of farming.
Yeah.
But now somebody is calling protest organic, and saying that it is headdress. Sincerely, it didn't make sense to me. Even from the psychological point of view, it never made sense until it came to be, and it made sense. It was organic because haikuwa fertilizer. Nobody had added anything,
Right.
It just happened that every other corner, people rose up, and nobody called who. Like you hear Isiolo, you were, like when Raila would call on protest, we knew guys were going to come from Kibera and Mathare. So
Right.
basically, there was that connotation that these guys are just from the slums, and so kind of we look down on them, and we called them thieves and everything, Even when they stole, we were not scared. Everybody closed the shop because they knew, But when these guys came out, they came out different, because sincerely, I think initially it was very, very, very genuine. These guys were genuine. They were focused. They knew what they wanted. They didn't want to steal. Just that, of course, when something like that happens, somebody comes in between. So we are all in trouble in the sense that this thing has impacted everybody. Look at how much shops have been destroyed, businesses have been destroyed, you know, children have been killed. Quite scaring, you know.
Yeah.
Because in normal sense, no parent want to bury their child, really. But now that is what has happened. So basically the whole nation is impacted. And the worst thing is, unlike things like accidents or some things that happen in the nation, and you see like if it is the counseling association, they call for debriefing and such kind of things. Those things, this thing is so massive that actually we have not seen a lot of debriefing happening. And so it's like every person really have to carry their own burden.
Right.
Yeah.
And you know, I think that is what now is the real, you know, the elephant in the house. Who will cancel the nation? Who will cancel the Gen Z? Which therapist can actually handle the mass of, you know, psychologically impacted? Do you think there has been a talk about maybe possibility of a hike in things like, for example, you know, suicide ideations and other ideas that perhaps we might see a spike or you know, a rise, you know, an unusual rise in this kind of people coming to that point where they feel so desperate and they seek for a way out, but rather on the side of this is enough for me, I'm out, or something like that. Do you see that sort of scenario unfolding, or do you think the Gen Z have the capacity to handle all this pressure?
Well, I think I stand to be corrected, but I feel when it comes to the suicidal ideation, probably not for Gen Zs.
Okay.
Because these kids, they are strong in their own way. If only these things, because you see, like this thing, it can only be approached. It has actually a multifaceted kind of an approach for the nation to be able to heal and even to work with Gen Zs. Because you see, like now, then they had expectation. They came out and they voiced, you know, whatever ideas they had, and if only they are heard and those things are attended, I don't think, you know, these kids had nothing to lose. You see, like if you fight with a chokora, for example, yeah, I'm just thinking from my capacity, if I fight with the chokora, I'm looking back and I have children, I have properties, and I have, you know, all the many things that probably I have, you know, to take care of. But this chokora who is on the street, probably, majority of the time, they have nothing to lose. They have everything with them. You know, this is all me.
Yes.
You know, so if you fought with them and they didn't die, why would they want to kill themselves?
Yeah. So yeah, that's.
So why would they want to kill themselves?
Okay.
You see, for me, if, for example, I'm likely even to start running because something will trigger me, like, hey, you know, you have your daughter who haven't finished school. Oh, your car is where? So there's so much to protect for me that I feel I should go on with life.
Right.
You know.
Yes.
However, even this person, what do they have to lose? They may not have gained, but still they didn't lose. Because losses sometimes is what will make you feel like you'd want to commit suicide. In fact, I fear for some of the business people. Because if this economical distress is not handled very well, some of those businesses people can actually kill themselves. Because you are there, you have invested your all. You see? And majority of them, just like they are voicing, they had actually taken loans. So if the government didn't come to their aid, I think there is going to be a very serious challenge, you know?
Okay.
So what is likely probably now to impact some of those Gen Zs is people whose parents' businesses were actually hit.
All right.
Although this thing is actually going to affect all of us in the long run, because you see, like, if one business has been affected and another, it's a spiral.
Right.
It will still affect us somehow. However, it has probably impacted business people more negatively than even these Gen Zs.
Okay.
You know? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, as far as we can tell, Gen Z have, other than their phones, well, they said they only fear low battery and what?
Ujimoto and marriage.
Ujimoto, marriage, and low battery.
These people people are very real, by the way. They are very real.
So I think so. In other words, you're saying perhaps the you know their results. I mean, their strength is in their you know, kind of expressive-ness, their ability to express themselves, and you know, kind of like is, you know, find a way to really like you know, absorb and express and talk about their issues. Perhaps that might be an advantage that they have, that they may be able to you know, avoid the distress of this protest. And it seems like they were actually enjoying themselves while the party lasted, right?
Well, probably no. Okay, you know, these people, they were so purposeful.
All right.
They were coming to the street expressing themselves and how they wish that their wishes can actually be met. Because you see, these kids, unfortunately, they are actually, this was not their intention. They are voicing your voice, funny enough.
Right.
You know, because every time wakikuja home, nipatie hii, akuna, oh, this government. In fact, these kids, if you can be very, very sincere as parents, we are the people who have given these kids ideas. You know, in the sense that you're all forever complaining, you and your wife, you're talking issues, and Gen Z is there listening. You cannot pay their school fees. You know, you go apply for help, you cannot get, you see? So now if you don't get help, who is supposed to apply the help in the first place? It is you as a parent. In fact, for me, let me tell you, I really felt sad because I felt like my child was literally fighting for my irresponsibility. Because you see, I'm the one who's supposed to pay their school fees and everything and everything. If only their needs were met from the home level, they didn't need to come to the streets. So what happened is that we as the parents, we were not able to meet their needs, you know. So they came to voice your concern, which you, maybe for fear, maybe for whatever, you couldn't come out. So just like I would say, I would want to quote maybe Pastor T and say that, walifika hapa. But in actual sense, ni kwa sababu you were not able to attend to their needs. And so they were like, let's look for the source that is supposed to be supplied for my parents so that they can supply to me. So that's why they came to the streets.
Gen Zs, you have your supporter here. Yeah, so Jane Gitau is, you know, she's a psychologist and, you know, and many other things that you do, and a counselor. And so she's speaking for the Gen Z. And I think there is a sense of assurance that, yes, this generation can handle this pressure. And perhaps, but if you are there and you're looking for help, you probably, you know, have, you know, you're experiencing trouble, trauma, pressure. Maybe your business was affected. Yes, you can reach out. There are people who can actually help.
Yes.
Perhaps some of you may need some debriefing. You may need to actually to see a therapist, a psychologist, who you can have a discussion and pour out. I know the older generation, you know, people just keep things to themselves. The men especially, they keep things to themselves. Maybe your business was seriously affected, you lost your business, you can actually reach out for help. And Jane Gitau is here. She can actually be reached, of course, through the numbers you see on the screen. You can reach out to us, and then we can connect you to her, and you can find some help. So so you've given a debriefing of some sort, you know. And maybe let's go to the, you know, finding healing. There may be people out there who really are looking for healing, a pathway to find healing. Especially people whose businesses were affected, whose incomes were, you know, they have really been reset. Unfortunately, they, you know, what we call collateral damage. You know, somebody has lost their a family friend, and they're actually feeling so distressed. Some have become so distressed that they are not able even to watch news or even to watch television. How do you rehabilitate, you know, yourself? I mean, in what way can you actually like deal with it? Do you hide away, or do you face it? Or what happens? How do you find healing?
Yeah, I think it is very key also to, let me retract and say that I'm not trying to underestimate the pain of Gen Zs, because first of all, they also lost some of their friends.
Yes.
And these people, they are very real. Knowing that you'll never see your friend again is quite distressful.
Okay.
And so it is very, very important for people to be real. And especially the parents, they also need to watch on their kids, on how they are behaving towards the whole thing. Because some people were on the forefront and they were affected, they lost friends, and so they are going through this very pain. And so it is very, very important for parents or the guardians to be very careful. Keep on watching your Gen Z, how they are behaving. Don't underestimate it. I'm not really trying to say that they are superhuman. No, they are not superhuman. Really, they are very, very real. And interesting, when they are going through stress, they'll also tell you. So keep on watching this, and please make sure you can take them for counseling, you know. And you who have lost business, don't underestimate what you're going through, you know. Mm-hmm. Because sincerely, if you have invested your all, and now here you are, completely with nothing, where do you start?
Okay.
It's really crazy, you know? Mm-hmm. But guess what? This is not the end. Don't kill yourself, you know? Reach out for help, because once you get psychological recovery, economical recovery can be secondary. And this is where also the government has to come in and know that we have long-term and short-term approaches, you know. And the immediate approach should also be considering counseling for Kenyans anyway. Mm-hmm. Approach the association, the hospitals should also maybe set up some places where they can be able to counsel these people. The same way they received people who had injuries. I think they should also have sections where they can agree to counsel people just as they go in. You see, churches, you know, because many people also identify with churches. Mm-hmm. So it is very, very important wherever you're doing your business or where you go to the church, please make sure you can be able to reach your pastor. Don't underestimate your issue. Refuse to die alone. Don't say this is the end. It is not the end. You know, business can always go down and come up, you know. I'm not trying to tell you that to undermine what you lost. I'm even saying that you could have lost your all. But thank God you didn't lose yourself.
All
because
right.
At the end of the day, you are the beginning of the business, you know. You are the first item or the first investment, you know. And so please, you can go to the church, you can go to the hospital, so that at least you can be helped in debriefing. Agree to share. Share as much as possible. And don't exaggerate and don't steal undertell, you know. You know, sometimes people will say, you know, I lost things worth 10 million. And maybe you lost only $1 million. Because as you say that, you're also telling your brain something, you know. So get real, you know, tell your story. Tell it to the right people, where at least you can be able to get the right support. Don't tell at people who will be able to laugh at you. Tulikuwa tunajua, you know, because, you know, we have malicious people.
Yes.
Malicious people are all over.
Right.
So please, just make sure you know the people that you're telling to, you know, and go to the right people, go to the counselor. Don't say counselors don't help. You know, people go to the counselors expecting advice. We don't give advice. We are supposed to provoke your mind to generate better ideas.
Okay.
So for example, like now the business has gone. So what next?
Okay.
What next? Maybe you're already doing a business worth 10 million.
Right.
So can we go back and start a business worth a few thousands?
Yes.
Is it possible? It is possible because you came from there sometimes back. So
All
we
right.
can still go back.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, there was a joke going around in the internet that motivational speakers, you know, will say, I started my restaurant with a bone, with 1 cup of tea or something like that. So sometimes people have also been, you know, they get to a point where they become even skeptical about, you know, advice or help. But certainly this is very, very helpful. Jane, you're absolutely right that, yes, if you are in trouble, you feel that you're on the back foot, you've lost so much, there is such a heavy burden on yourself, please reach out and be real, talk to people, get the right people, debrief, find a way to actually seek some way of expressing yourself. Don't die inside. Please ask for help and reach out. Of course, you say we reach out to the church, but you know very well one of the perceived enemy of this particular movement is the church. So I don't think whether the church is being seen in very good light. We've been accused of all manner of evil, chief of which corruption and all that. So perhaps maybe you can explain that. You are a pastor, so you need to tell our viewers that they should not be afraid of seeing the pastor. The pastor their doors are always open, right?
Well, yeah, I'm an evangelist. Actually, I'm not really a pastor. However, it is very, very good to know that pastors, even bishops, are also human beings.
Right.
They fail in one way or the other, However, there are some churches who have basically counseling departments.
Okay.
Because not all pastors are counselors. That we must agree.
Yeah.
So not all pastors, my brothers and sisters out there, have the capacity to counsel. So personally, I'm a trained counseling psychologist. So you can go to pastor for prayers or maybe other advice, but however, go for proper counseling, because many other churches have counseling set up. It is true the churches, some churches have failed us. It is true the church has been accused that they have been sleeping with the
state.
With the state. And for sure there's something I personally, this is now for me as Jane, I really don't like. I don't see, if I look through the Bible, David did not summon the priest. The priest summoned David. So I don't know why our pastors have to be summoned, because if I summon you, you become my subject.
That's true.
Yeah, but if you summon me, I automatically become your subject. So you see now people could be annoyed that they are being summoned at the State House. So when you go there, automatically there's that assumption that you go under. So even if our president was going to talk very sensitive things with you people, even maybe to counsel him, people will not take it that way. They will take it that he summoned you, so you automatically become the subject. And so please, church, take up your position and know that it is you to summon our president. Counsel him, help him. He's also human anyway.
All right. Yeah, certainly. Well, yeah. It's a big issue. It's Jane, as you very well know, it's complicated. We're going to go into a short break, and then. But I think the point is made. Please seek counseling help. Many churches have a counseling department, and Jane Gitau here, she's a trained counseling psychologist.
Yes.
And so please go to the right person. Yes, pastors will pray, pastors will give you advice, spiritual covering. You can go more specifically to a trained psychologist, and a Christian one for that matter, who not only will counsel you, help you debrief and, kind of clear your mind and maybe think through some of the issues that might be kind of areas of confusion, and bring you to a place where there's a bit of light, and then you can find your pathway for healing. So let's take a short break. When we come back, we return to this conversation. We still to talk about other issues here, and also look at your comments and help further this conversation. All right, so we're coming back shortly.
Every man of God must remain focused in the ministry.
A pastor needs prayer, care, love, and encouragement.
You have to have a mentor, someone you can be able to obey, to love, to submit to.
What these pastors and leaders should do to create the right culture.
The most powerful thing a pastor can do to his people is teach them.
Being accountable to an authority is not weakness, it's strength.
On Encourage a Pastor, we share real and authentic conversations that intend to give solutions to a pastor.
If there's a minister out there are character issues, don't push. Don't keep on ministering. You won't be fruitful.
in the body of Christ, certain wives have given up because probably they feel they haven't gotten the right leadership from their own husbands.
We need to learn to know our husbands after the Spirit.
I'm telling you, don't quit.
Catch Encourage a Pastor every Saturday from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m.
Welcome back. This is the Monday Morning Digest. We are talking about how to find healing post-protest psychological trauma. And this last 1 month or so, we have seen amazing, impactful protest, and the nation has been in kind of a moment of turning, and a lot of people have been affected by the ensuing protest. Lives have been lost. Like we said at the beginning of this show, we actually want to offer our condolences to those families that lost their loved ones, and those that are mourning in one form or another, and also our condolences and sympathies to those who lost their businesses and have to start all over again. So we truly recognize and appreciate that some people have gone through so much, and we are discussing here with my guest here, Jane Gitau. She's a trained psychologist, counseling psychologist, and she's offering help. She's helping us to debrief over these matters. So Jane, before we went to the break, we began to talk about the whole issue of there has been so much negative news. I mean, you open the social media platforms, you open the news, it's all protest, so and so said this, the government said this, and the choruses of this. There is this kind of ivory tower that must be brought down. There is this the government must be completely disbanded and all that. I mean, it's out there. Is there a sense in which the bombardment of negative news and constant, influence can affect somebody psychologically? And how do we find sanity? Where is the good music? Where is song of celebration? How do we find at least the positive side of things?
Yeah, I think it is very, very important for people to know that this whole thing has affected everyone, even the journalists themselves. And so it is very, very important that media houses consider that people are going through a lot of issues and at least sieve some of these things. However, I know so much is not even what is coming through the media houses per se. So much is actually what is coming through the social media.
Right.
And unfortunately, this social media thing is controlled from everyone's hand in the data.
Right.
So much data you have is what you manage here. And so I would really urge our Gen Zs, you need to be very, very careful. As much as you have that iPhone or whatever phone and you have the Wi-Fi, please take care of what you're watching. Because there's something you actually mentioned about the post-traumatic stress disorder. PTSD only comes if you assume this issue. Yo ni nini, they say keep ya kinyemi ingawa kidonda. When the wound is very raw, it's not very painful when it is very fresh. Mm-hmm. But a day after, it's when you can even run, by the way. That's why people will be shot and they can run as far as, But when they go, whatever they will settle, from there, they even get paralyzed. And you wonder, how come they were able to run so far? Mm-hmm. So it is because when everything is fresh, things don't really look like they have really impacted you.
Okay.
So it is only when you have settled down, you realize, hey, my God, You know, it is when Kenya Power come and you realize you cannot pay bill. It is when your landlord comes and you realize you cannot pay rent. It's when you realize, wow, I have lost my business. And this thing can really start working on you. So I would really say that people should actually be very careful what they watch. And again, please go for debriefing. Just go. Because debriefing is basically like clearing. You see, like there you clear these things from this table. If you clear these things from the table, you are creating more space for other new things. So clear those things that happen. You may not forget them, yes. But why I'm saying that you discuss them, or debriefing basically will help you to be able to talk about the same very things that you saw happen, but now differently.
Okay.
That we are fighting for this and that. And that is why I would really urge the government. It is very fair for you to call a team to look at these things critically, because there is nothing as bad as somebody feeling, I lost my leg, but I never got what I was fighting for. Those people are likely to come back to the streets so that why should I live with one leg and I don't even have what I was fighting for? But if I have one leg and I can see what I fought for, at least I feel encouraged. And this will help me talk the very things that happen. Unaona mtu anaonesha mguu, unaona hii mguu, hii ndio ilileta kitu fulani, you know? And somehow there's positivity in it. You see, at least it was not for nothing, you know? Even you as a father, when you see your gray hair, you know, and you realize that you've been able to educate your children, achieve 1, 2, 3 things, you're able to remember your pain or your old age with some, you know, at least you have a gratitude, you know. And so it is very, very important that we as a nation, no matter where you are, please take care of what you're watching. Look at, even if it is the news, just look at the highlight and ask yourself, are they worth my stress? Are they really worth?
All right.
You know?
Okay. Yeah. I think there is a sense in which you know, the events of the last 1 month, actually, let's put it that way, have created such an atmosphere of you know, fear and despondency. I mean, you know, everything, you know. Okay, there are people who actually are celebrating that this is the most successful season Kenya has had, you know, in terms of pushback and taking back. They say they have been using the word taking back. We are taking back our nation, and at whatever cost. And certainly the motivation is up there, and you know, that has its place. But you know, there is. So I think my challenge is those who are falling by the wayside. You understand? So the heroes, the champions, may be doing just fine. You know, they like the energy, they like the vibe, they would even like it to go even higher. But I think maybe the real victims of this whole agenda is not the mainline people, but it's the people who are who were already on the margins. Maybe somebody who was already struggling, and now they probably have sunk deeper. What would you tell that person who really feel, even though this movement is reaching out to bring change, but it's put me in a much worse of condition than I was, and perhaps how do I find help? So that level of desperation at the margins, you know, how do you recover? How do you find your way out?
Well, it is very important for us to appreciate that any protest, you know, will never come without bloodshed.
Okay.
It will never come without an effect, because if you look at the First World War, Second World War, when people were fighting for the freedom of this nation, South Africa, and so many other nations, whenever such things happen, unfortunately, blood has to be poured. And the question is, whose blood? Whose blood? And it is unfortunate that you're struggling and your business. For example, if you look at this Shoeshiner place, which was, you know, you wonder now, such a small business, surely, why was it really set ablaze? And sometimes it's all about anger and such kind of things. So it is very, very important, first of all, to accept where you are.
Right.
Yeah. It is, you know, it is unfortunate that we are asking the government, which still really has been bashed in one way or the other, to support. And, well, government, you have no choice. You have, and you remember, we are the government. But it is very, very important for the government to come up with a team who will go to the ground and really look at how much people have been impacted negatively, so that at least they can be picked, We can be able to pick our brothers, our sisters. And I think Pastor Gigi, I would really request our Kenyans to pick this spirit of Gen Z, whereby they didn't have tribe and, they are tribeless, as we called it, so that at least you can be able to pick your fellow. The government may not be able to come, or the government in quotes, may not be able to come down to that level where you are selling your fruits and everything, but maybe even we as a team, we can come up and raise our own. But even as we raise our own, I'll still continue saying that psychological attention is very key. It's very, very important for you to go. I'm not talking of, psychological and spiritual, they are really so much connected. But it is very, very important for these people to go for psychological debriefing. Why? So that they can get special energy. Because I say debriefing is like clearing a table. Your mind has been so clogged up with very negative things, and we are going nowhere. Suppose I set up this business and then they come tomorrow,
Yes.
And that is why the government, Lily, has to try and work on this issue, because I believe our president is genuine, and since everything has been voiced, he shall continue attending to this issue one by one. And I would also tell our Gen Zs maybe to try and come, give that a bit of time, just a bit, even if you voice something to your parent, because I think we need to get real here. If my child came and told me, I need this, I need that. Yes, it is a need. It's not a want. But do I have it right away? And if I have, how much do I have? Maybe they needed 100 bob, but I only have 50 bob. So what can we do with this 50 bob? So I think it is very, very important to get real, because as much as we are pushing these people, they're also pushing us.
Right.
So everybody is being pushed. So you have to realize that as you affect them, they're also affecting you.
All right.
And so let us pick our pieces. Let us raise our friends, We need also to come up as a team. If you're in a certain market, for example, like Marikiti, don't allow your own to die, because you never know. Tomorrow you may be the person who shall be in need. So people can decide to come up together, that there can be that spirit of togetherness, like we actually saw with our children, and we start now uplifting our own in terms of giving them positive energy, encouraging them, and also the church. If you're a pastor and your people have accused you of this, please just try to look into it. Don't deny. Stop threatening people. Just look at the reality. Yes, you're a man of God. We respect it, no problem. But look at the areas that we are accusing you. Please calm down. Because even in the Bible, people made mistakes, isn't it?
Right.
And so accept that you have made this mistake, so that at least you don't lose these people, because they need you. And
right.
Even you need them.
Okay.
So that at least you can, this is the only way we can help the government, by the way, where the church take its position, and where families, parents agree to take their position, and also the government take its position, because everybody is shaken. Even the MPs are shaken. You see the way some of their things were destroyed. So some of them cannot even go back home. So this situation has affected everybody. So let us come together. Let us have that spirit of forgiveness. Forgiveness is also a part of psychology, by the way. When you forgive, that thing clears you. And you who is being forgiven, don't repeat the mistake. Agree to that you've been forgiven, and calm down.
Right.
Yeah, calm down.
Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, very good. We're going to take another short break.
Okay.
we are here talking about finding healing through these post-protest traumatic situations. And my guest here, Jane Gitau, a trained psychologist, is telling us how we must find our way. So let's use our resources. Let's use what we have. Let's reach out. Don't die in a corner, and you will find some help. So let's take a short break. We'll come back to this conversation shortly.
In Pillars of Faith,
These truths that we bring out every week around the Word of God, they are meant to strengthen our faith.
Time is a consequence of light. The light you have will inform the time you'll be in.
We seek to fulfill the mandate of the Great Commission.
The purpose of God for believers is for formation of sons.
What are the pillars that we need in our lives?
Bearing fruit is spiritual maturity.
Yeah.
You cannot bear fruit if you're not mature.
That is our agenda, motivation and intention.
Introduce Jesus into the matter, and your times and seasons will shift.
Pillars of Faith, every Tuesday, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m.
All right, welcome back. We are talking about finding healing. The last, 1 month has been absolutely dramatic in this nation. But we believe that, yes, however impacted you have been, whichever way, some of our people have been so negatively impacted by the protest and loss of business, loss of loved ones, loss of family, and the whole conflict. Unfortunately, every conflict produces negative and, of course, positive impact and the needed change. So we are saying that if you are in a dark corner somewhere and you actually feel that you're down and downcast, that you can find healing. And so my guest here, Jen, is helping us, talk about debriefing. And so, Jen, we in this last part of this conversation, we want to talk to those people that the kind of action somebody should take going forward. Should these things escalate, because we don't know the end game, it's not very clear where we are headed. How do you, kind of build some level of walls of protection, mental walls? So taking responsibility for yourself and also building, I don't like using the word resilience, but yes, maybe we can bring that in. How do we prove? I think we've talked about this in a previous show.
Yeah.
Trauma-proof ourselves. Because this conflict perhaps is not over. And maybe more things may be coming, and of course, life can throw anything to us, along the way. There are other people who have actually maybe also lost their loved ones, not in the process, but in other dimensions. How do you build a wall around yourself so that then you are able to handle the pressures of life? So this is a very general question, but it's kind of like saying, when all is said and done, conflict will come, trouble will come. How do we ensure, that you build yourself in a way that you can survive the worst?
Yeah, I think this is where you accept that life, it is true. It is very, very unpredictable. Anything can happen anytime. I think it's all about being sincere. Be sincere with yourself that you didn't call for this. And there are so many things that have happened in your life without calling for them.
Right.
So remain real. Be real. Because if you're a fake, if you keep on saying this happens to others and not to me,
right.
When it happens to you, that's when you get a shock. So be real, be positive, do what you have to do. Like if it is talking to your children, when you're discussing issues, even if it's about government, let us not try to blow things out of proportion. Let us also be real and also try to put yourself, for example, even in the shoes of our president and so many other people. Even like your boss, try to put your shoes there and see what you could be able to do, And so it is very, very important for us to be very real. Let us call upon our children, the parents of Gen Zs and even millennials. Let us call them, let us be real, even if it were you. Yeah, tell them, for example, because if this thing escalates, if this nation goes down, all of us do go down. We shall all go down anyway. That is the truth. And so when you look at it that way, then it is up to you to stop it at your level, as I also stop it at my level. But even as we stop it, we must push the responsibility to the right person. So I call my children, let us be clear. We've already said what we had to say. So sincerely, even if we go to street, what more can we say? You see? Because we need to be very, very real. Yes, we'll go to street tomorrow. But shall we only go to street to tell them what we told them yesterday?
Okay.
Can't we give them a week? Because nobody is saying that you cannot come back to the street after 6 months. Who said?
Yeah, you know, of course, I think one of the challenge of the Gen Z, I don't know, I really don't want to characterize people, you know, unfairly, because I really, so I'm not a Gen Z, so I don't know what it means to be a Gen Z as such. I was young one time, our circumstances were different. But I think the whole unforgiving must have the answer now sort of approach to life. For me, I think it really creates this impossible lacuna, you know, where it must happen now, and if it doesn't happen, then perhaps we need to increase our voice and shout harder, and maybe even bang harder, that kind of thing. So is there a sense in which people can actually push themselves to the place where really it begins to now work negatively, especially when you say we can't wait, it must be done now?
No, you see, these Gen Zs, they come from a home. Like I have two. I have three, you know. You see, these kids are coming from homes. And I think the issue of they cannot wait, or they can wait, I think it also depends on how we are handling them. Because as I said earlier, this is my feeling, is that they are trying to voice your voice. It's not, in fact, this is not necessarily their voice. Unajua wanasema, tumeona, we are taking care of our parents, we are doing this, tumefikwa hapa, you see? So they are reacting because of you. So I think it is very, very important to know these children are coming from homes. And so we can handle these issues from home. And sincerely, whatever has been voiced, it is up to us, and more so the government, to see how authentic those issues are. Because if they are addressed, I can tell you for free, these kids are going to rest. And I would tell our Gen Zs, since we've already voiced, even if we went tomorrow, yes, you'll continue dying. You say you don't care, fine, you die. But what more can you voice? If you have voiced everything, let us give it some time. If it does not happen, I think we can still go back to the street whenever. But that is now after observing. And probably because I believe our president has already heard us. And now that he has already heard, let us please continue noting what has been done and what has not been done. So what has not been done, why has it not been done? So let us also get real. Because even you one day, you Gen Z, you'll be a parent.
Right.
And you don't also want your children to go and protest just maybe because of 1, 2, 3 things. We need to be real here. And the whole society, we need to get real. The government need to calm down and create awareness. Educate us. Educate people on their rights so that you don't infringe my right as you try to get your right. You know? So we need to create this awareness. And I'm just as I said earlier, we still need to create a rapport with the church, and the church has a place of educating its people, because this is a place where we meet.
Actually, maybe you know, maybe we can address ourselves to the pastor as well. So the pastor has been ostracized and declared persona non grata. You know, I mean, it's absolutely, the pressure is too much. So there could be a pastor out there who actually had problems, but now, or even had some level of dignity, but with all these accusations left and right, how do you survive, this constant surveillance, that if a pastor for some reason actually acquired a brand new car, and people can acquire cars, in different, using different sources of income. I mean, not necessarily, stuff coming from the basket, the offering basket, because they are pastors who have a dual career. How do you then live with the fact that you got to have your own life, how do you deal with that level of criticism, that whatever you do, it can be good? I think we need to speak to the pastor out there who is probably struggling with that feeling of that, look, this is too much. Maybe I'm giving up. Some pastors might give up, So what you as a therapist and a psychologist, what advice would you give to that pastor?
Well, I would say that, first of all, pastors, stop spiritualizing everything. You know, God gave me this car, so gee, what happened? You know, God did. It is God, but surely it is through some effort, isn't it?
Yeah.
So if you're a pastor and you're living in some village or wherever you're living, we expect your life to be reflected or to reflect that community there. You cannot be living out there and your community is down here. Because you see, like even what you saw with the MPs being fought, is you have placed a big, mansion somewhere. Every other person is so poor. You're the only rich person. Why wouldn't we think you ate our money?
Okay.
Yeah? So it is up to you, pastor. Stop spiritualizing everything. Help your people. Get real, you as a pastor. Get real, support your people. Show them. You see, because like you can hold some civic education or educate them and create awareness in your church. Also help them. Show them how they can also get those cars or whatever other business. Show them how they can do it. Because as they get rich, you should grow with them. But you cannot be the only one growing and your people are not growing. We shall fight you, So make sure you as a pastor, please grow with your people. Stop enjoying your people. Tell them they are not praying enough. That's why they are not getting cars. No. Stop spiritualizing everything. There's a place for everything. There's a place for prayer. There's a place for work, So we need to get real. And please stop rising and leaving your people down here. They will fight you.
All right.
They'll fight you.
Okay.
Be real.
And if you happen to be a millionaire, but you want to become a pastor, so must you sell all your goods and, so that you can come down to the level? I mean, there are pastors who are very well off. I mean, people. You remember Nagni Patni, following his dramas of the 90s and 2000s, and his battle over his, the confusion around his wealth and all that. Later on, he decided to become a pastor. And he comes from a rich family. I think maybe that's the other thing. Maybe, or are we coming down to where Jesus said, the young rich ruler, so sell everything.
But you see, such a person also will not locate his church in Madare.
No, actually, Nagni took his ministry, I think, down to the downtrodden. Yeah.
First of all, it was at casino.
Yeah.
You see, if you're a rich man, we already know. Because if you're coming to set up a church, it's like if you are raised together,
right,
I'm able to track you. But if you came from wherever, we don't know you and you came with your cars and everything, we are not likely to get bad. You cannot say that you used our money. Why we are going to complain that you used our money is where we have a track record. We can track you up. You see, we are tracking, for example, we are reacting about our MPs because we are able to track them.
Okay.
So people were not like Nagni. Everyone knew that he was a rich man. And almost always, those people, they come to give. So they actually support people. And this is what we are saying. Like now when he come, he'll pick here and there and support these young people, help them at least, make up their life, But you are there. We already know. We can track you. You are our MCA. We saw you, tukakupatia votes, And now here you are driving big cars and telling us all those kind of things. So people only react if they can track you. If they can't track you, they will not just react the way they are reacting.
Okay, yeah. Wonderful. We have a question here from Anthony Jeru. Anthony Jeru is asking, good morning. I'm interested in the issue of expletive and unprintable language used by Gen Z. What would that tell us about the psychological profile of a Gen Z? I mean, you've had some of the words they are using. They are absolutely, unprintable. They have said a lot of unprintable stuff. Directed at the head of the state, directed at people they don't like. They just absolutely go bare knuckle. What does that say about the Gen Z? And are all Gen Zs the same profile?
Well, certainly not. As I said, these kids come from homes, just like you're different from me. Even them, they are different. But they are very daring. They are very daring. And as I said earlier, somebody who have nothing to lose, they'll say anything and everything.
Okay.
And most of the time, they want to anger you to reaction.
Okay.
And the worst thing is that this was so unexpected. So we saw a lot of reaction. But I think now our government, imeamuka, We need to be more proactive than reactive.
Okay.
So we must say that these Gen Z, the people that you saw on the streets, they came from different places. That is why the police tried blocking roads. But before you could even block, everybody was already in town.
Yeah, we are wrapping this up, yeah.
Yeah, so they came from different places, and so there were those people who came from places that they talk whatever language, and others who are probably also shocked. They are also that are actually going through trauma because of the kind of word they had, and they're like, we've never had it in our house.
Yes.
So it's unfortunate. It is not, you cannot judge them, you cannot actually blanket them.
Okay.
No, you can't.
Okay. So we have to wrap this up. We've had an amazing conversation indeed. And I hope that those of you that are following this conversation, you'll find some answers. Yes, it's true. It's very, very difficult to profile the Gen Z and put them all in one box.
Yeah,
they vary across the board. There are some who are who really spewed a lot of unpredictable stuff, and others actually perhaps were even shocked by that level of explicitiveness and all that. And so as we wrap up, Jane, I want you to look at that camera and speak to Gen Z or a pastor that perhaps is struggling, and assure them and give them words of direction. And you can also give your number just in case somebody wants to reach out.
Yes, so I would want to talk to pastors. As I told you, please stop spiritualizing everything. Get real. Tell people the truth, and they'll love God, they'll respect you, and they'll love church. When they come to Gen Zs, my sons and daughters, I'm actually your mom. Let us not overreact. It is true that some things have been good, some others have been bad. It is true that we have let you down in one way or the other, but you don't have to lose life for us. Yeah, now that you've already voiced, you've already said what you had to say, let us give it some time. Yeah, don't just go to the street yet. Let us give it some time. I believe our president had. Let us not doubt him. Yeah, he could have probably not done what he said to us earlier, but let us give him a chance, another chance, because things might only get better. Yeah, if you're in Naivasha, I am at Maisha Hospital. You can get me there. If you're a government official or in a Kenyan, you can always come to that hospital, or you can see me in my own clinic, even here in Nairobi. My number is 0721-568-717. Business people, please get to know that you can also go for debriefing. You can redo it. You started from zero and you got to where you are. You can still come back again. It is possible. God bless you.
Amen. Amen. Thank you so much, Jane. Always a pleasure to host you. Always a pleasure to listen to you. And you're passionate. Your feet are right there in there. You are mother to Gen Z, so you can't run away. Thank you very much indeed. God bless you. Ladies and gentlemen, have a great week. And may the Lord bless you and reach you in Jesus' mighty name. Amen. Bye for now.
Amen.